What is going on, guys? Welcome back to part 3 of this KTM build. So if you guys haven't seen part 1 and 2, they're going to be in the description below, or you can click on this little bubble that's going to pop up above me. But if you guys have, then welcome back. We just finished cleaning all these parts that are in front of me. We're going to go ahead and start getting this thing, back together piece by piece. So we're going to go ahead and mount up the frame back on the stand. Start replacing some of the broken parts. We still have the motor to do and some of the other stuff. That'll be for another video, but without wasting any more time, let's get started. So before we go ahead and mount this thing back up on the stand, we're gonna have to do something about these foot pegs. They are not looking too hot. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take them off, and we're actually gonna spray paint them. With them being foot pegs, the teeth are gonna wear kind of no matter what you put on them, even if you powder coat them, anything. So spray paint, not that big of a deal here. So let's go ahead, let's pop these things off and let's put some coats on. All right, so all I'm using is just some Krylon Fusion all-in-one matte black. All right, so I went ahead, I took the sprocket off too. It was looking pretty bad, so we're just gonna go ahead and get some coats of black on here as well. So since we're painting that other stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this spring off of here and give it a fresh coat of paint as well, because it looks pretty rough. So before we start putting this thing back together, I went ahead and ordered a lot of new parts. We got a seat cover, pipe guard, rear shock bearings, we got rear brake headset bearings, top end kit, carburetor hoses, we got a front sprocket, brand new air filter, new fork seals, axle blocks, we got an hour meter, an entire bolt kit. I had these hand guards, they were laying around. Since we're going for more of like a XC off-road kind of look, I'll go ahead and clean these up. We'll put those on there. I got this skid plate off eBay. Got a new front fender, rear fender, front plate. We're going with the new 2019 front fender and front plate style. Mud guard and radiator shrouds. All these parts, I went ahead and most of them I got on eBay. I had these laying around, so those were free. Like a lot of this outlaw stuff, they went ahead and helped me out. Again, you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money when you're buying these parts. If you look at the right places and you kind of hunt for the deals, you can really find some good deals and save as much money as you can. So before we go ahead and throw the foot pegs on and get this thing mounted back on the stand, we're gonna go ahead and knock the bearing races out of there, and we'll go ahead and put the new ones in. So here the foot pegs are. We went ahead and just gave them 2 coats. I think they turned out pretty good. We'll go ahead and get them mounted up. The foot pegs are back on, the skid plate. We've got it mounted back up here on the stand. So let's go ahead and start getting it back together. All right, so it's time to go ahead and replace these bearings here. The process is pretty simple. You just take a big flathead screwdriver or a chisel, put it underneath here, and you just beat on this thing till it comes off. I went ahead and took out the roller bearings around here, and that'll give me something to catch on. All right, first things first, we'll go ahead and we'll slide this ring on there. All right, so before we put this bearing on, we're gonna have to pack it full of grease first. All right, so this thing should be fully packed. It should be really kind of thick when you spin it. So I like to go ahead and use the old piece of the bearing. Even though it's broken, it'll be fine. I'll go ahead and put these 2 lips. I'm gonna put it on upside down, and then this lip here will give me something I can hit. All right, so before we go ahead and torque down this bolt here, we're gonna wait to get the forks in here so the clamps are perfectly aligned. So something I always do whenever I'm putting back together the bike is I go find the service manual. I want to check that I'm putting everything back correctly and I'm getting all the torque specs. So I just went online, searched 2008, whatever your bike is, KTM 250SX manual, and usually you can find a free PDF version. We're gonna clean these up a little bit, sand them down, and then we'll get them on the bike. All right, we got them cleaned up pretty good. We sanded down most of the scuffs that were on there. You know, these sprocket bolts were looking a little rough too, so we're just gonna go ahead and throw some silver spray paint on these. Next, we'll go ahead and we're going to replace this lower shock bearing here. Well, since we're already here, might as well take out these bearings and re-grease them. Let's just go ahead and end part 3 right here. I don't want to make these videos too long for you guys. We're still waiting on the hot rod's bottom end kit and the cylinder from US Chrome. So once we get that in, I'll go ahead and just dedicate an entire video just to the motor rebuild and getting that all cleaned up. In the meantime, I might be able to get out another like part 4, just some other miscellaneous stuff on the bike and getting it back together. I'm getting really busy with school, so I'm only able to get out here a couple times a week. So no more talking, and we'll see you guys next time in part 4.